December 13th, 2025 would mark the last time we would see John Cena wrestle inside of a ring. And it would mark the end of his legacy of being a record-breaking 17-time World Heavyweight Champion. And the end of his illustrious in-ring career, but also mark the beginning and the solidification of another superstar in the name of Gunther, who would be the man that would make John Cena ultimately give up in the ring. A lot of fans were furious and frustrated by how the end of this match played out, believing, hoping, and wishing that it was booked that John Cena didn't give up at the end, because that was his mantra, never give up. But at the end, John Cena would look at the fans with a smile of hope and finally decide to give up. But that's not what John Cena did. It wasn't John Cena giving up, because John Cena was integral. He had tenacity, and he stood by that mantra throughout his career, being booed even though he stayed the good guy, having his self placed in front of polar crowds who would one moment cheer for him and another moment boo him. Another moment, fans would want to riot because he would win. Sometimes even throwing his merchandise back inside the ring, showing their dislike for him having the campy, good boy, Boy Scout character that he had. And he always kept pushing forward with integrity and tenacity to show that it's not about just the image I'm portraying. It's about the lifestyle. And it's about the message I'm trying to send to everyone. And that's never give up. But in his last match, it seemed as though he did. But what John Cena did was, he didn't give up. He had to let go. He had to let go of the fight. And he had to let go of the mantra that he was protesting before all you guys, day in and day out, because he can no longer do it anymore. Before we start, there was a Facebook post I seen by a gentleman named Fred Jones on Facebook, and he had this to say about John Cena, which holds very important. He said, John Cena just lost his final match to Gunther. And if you think that's an L, you missed the lesson. That loss just stamped Cena as the GOAT. He didn't go out on top to protect his ego. He didn't demand a fairy tale ending. He didn't steal the moment from the future. He passed the torch. John Cena understood something most leaders never do. The business is bigger than the individual. He lost so the next generation could win. He stepped aside so the industry could move forward. He protected the system, not his status. Now let this hit our businesses and our personal lives as well. Older leaders, if you have to always be the strongest, the smartest, the most important, the top producer, you're not building legacy, you're building dependency. Real leaders don't die on the throne, they leave successors. Real fathers don't compete with sons, they equip them. Real builders don't hoard influence, they distribute. If your absence would collapse what you built, you didn't build a system, you built a stage. Cena didn't just end a career, he secured the future. That's not a loss, that's leadership, that's legacy. That's why John Cena is the GOAT. As stated by Michael Cole and Triple H at the post-conference, pro wrestling has just defeated sports and entertainment. And pro wrestling has ended sports and entertainment. We are in a new era. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Wrestling in the ring, thoughts that always bring. Talking all about the moves in our grooves. Wrestling talks and thoughts we never forgot. Slamming down the truth in our booth. Conversations in the air, we're flaring. Wrestling talks and thoughts in our slots. Fans united, always excited. Wrestling talks and thoughts in our spots.
January 23rd, 1984 would mark a new era, a beginning of a new era in pro wrestling, as it once was called, before it was called, sports and entertainment. A man by the name of Hulk Hogan would star in a movie called Rocky III as Thunderlips that would ultimately add to his mystique, his lore, and his aura, catapult him to superstardom, and Hulkamania would run wild. Vince McMahon would see this as a catalyst to now push WWF to the forefront, to mainstream, and Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon would now create sports and entertainment, and we would have a new genre before us, where now we have something completely different, where the combination of pro wrestling and entertainment, like celebrities, musicians, and those that are alike, would now enter into the realm of pro wrestling and give us grander spectacles, more entertainment, and grander features in what we would see in the wrestling ring. And we have this new genre called sports and entertainment. John Cena would be the representation of the likes of Bruno Sammartino, Bob Backlund, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, The Rock, Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Pedro Morales. These guys who were seen as predecessors of the old guard of pro wrestling and of sports and entertainment. John Cena, considering himself, or people considering him the last real champion, would be a representation of all those men. And in him having this build in the Last Time Is Now tournament would be us having a final farewell to the likes of sports and entertainment. Some of you guys may have missed the reason why there was a build to John Cena having his last match, the reason why we had this tournament, and the build, because we're now entering into something completely new, exciting, and different for the field and the landscape of sports and entertainment and wrestling as we know it. Hulk Hogan would be the catalyst for sports and entertainment, being the guy who would lead the charge, making and creating crossover mainstream success for wrestling as we know it with Vince McMahon, bringing us into an era in 1984 with his heavyweight championship win against the likes of the Iron Sheik. He would be the mainstream babyface, the good guy, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, giving us a positive image for kids to look up to and families to gravitate to, being the hero, the patriot, representing and fighting for his country against all types of opposition when it came to in-ring competition and showing how we are to carry ourselves. But John Cena, not having scandal attached to his name, not being one to have so much heat attached to his name in regards to burying talent, would be the ultimate standard bearer of putting over younger talent and securing the future for those who will come after him. Being a great representation in the ring and out the ring. Though he's made some enemies in him climbing the ladder and him being on top, he's also made a lot of friends and a lot of fans. Some hate him, some love him. But this is about the end of an era that was created by Vincent Kennedy McMahon, streamlined by Hulk Hogan, bringing wrestling into mainstream, combining entertainment with sports, having movie stars, having musicians, having anyone in the entertainment business combined to come together to create great spectacles like Survivor Series, the Royal Rumble, and of course, the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania. But now, we are in a whole nother era where things are now about to change. As stated by Triple H, the #1 booker in WWE, he was letting us know that this tournament and this last match wasn't just to celebrate someone who was a great representation behind the scenes and a great wrestler and in-ring performer, but this was also to let us know that we're changing and we're going in to something completely different from what we knew and what we know. It may seem the same, but it's going to be tweaked and it's going to be given to you a little bit different from what you had before. You're not going to have, and you may not have, a lot of goofy characters running around backstage like Doink the Clowns, Brooklyn Brawlers, or Dr. Ivan Yankev, but you're going to have performers who we should take a little bit more serious and have a little bit more respect for their in-ring abilities and how they are putting their bodies on the line. Pro wrestling. Pro wrestling comes with injuries, comes with sicknesses, it comes with mental fatigue, physical fatigue, those things that a lot of sports athletes really deal with day to day, constantly competing. And through the years, wrestling has not been receiving or has not been giving its proper due in regards to how these pro wrestlers put their bodies on the line day in and day out. Broken legs, some even having career-ending injuries, like the likes of Bret Hart, or Draws, or Owen Hart. But these performers put their bodies on the line to entertain guys like me and guys like you. Pro wrestling is the new name, where performers will now be taken seriously, which will be my assumption, but we will still have entertainment. We look at LA Knight, we look at Jey Uso, and if you are paying attention, like I'm paying attention, and seeing and noticing that, hey, there's not many guys like them backstage. Jey Uso comes out, he gets the crowd revved up with his yeet chants. Everybody's waving their hands. LA Knight has his catchphrases that everybody goes for. But then you have guys like Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, who are a little bit more serious in their approach when they come to the ring. Pro wrestling. Things are changing and a new era is now upon us. And this is what the tournament was for. It was to show us that we are now going into a shift in the business. The build for John Cena's last opponent and who that person would be, it was Gunther. Gunther was the person that was chosen because he is a representation of pro wrestling in every bit of the form, and how he comes in the ring, how he gets straight to the point in his promos, and how he just downright gets to the point in his in-ring ability in brutalizing his opponents. He told us he would make John Cena tap. He told us he would make John Cena give up. But what John Cena gave up wasn't just him giving up the fight. It was him letting go and saying, this is all I had to give. And it was him also letting go of sports and entertainment in the ring. And him letting go of an era that will now be considered closed. Why sports and entertainment? Why do we need to shift into pro wrestling? Because Vince McMahon, surrounded by scandal, had to exit the company, and we no longer have sports and entertainment. He's the guy who established and built that. And that's something that he was pushing and giving us throughout the years as him being the guy in charge. Hulk Hogan, his top star, who also died with scandal behind his name, is no longer and cannot be considered and celebrated as a hero. Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was an anti-hero. He wasn't a guy that pushed positivity, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, or never give up, or being the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. He wasn't that guy. He was a guy who beat the hell out of you, drunk a beer, flipped the bird, and left the ring. He represented the angry, disgruntled, blue-collar worker who felt like he was not getting enough respect from his boss, and if he wasn't going to get that respect, he was going to take it. But John Cena, the last Boy Scout, was a representation of, regardless of how hard things are, keep pressing forward. Regardless if things don't look the way that you think they're going to look, have tenacity. If everybody's against you and they're judging you and they're saying that you should change and go heel, or you should be the bad guy and give back all the hate that everybody's giving you, have integrity. He was a representation of the superhero, like the Bob Backlund, like the Hulk Hogan, like the Bruno Sammartino, that gave us the integral character that never gave up. And that's who John Cena embodied. But in pro wrestling, it's just performers. Some good, some bad, some in gray areas, and in between, not knowing whether they are on the good side or the bad side, because it's more about their accomplishments and their achievements. What to expect? What's going to happen? What's going to be so different? Well, come Monday Night Raw, when Gunther comes out and he gives his grand speech, he's more than likely going to open the show. He's going to get the biggest heel heat he's ever received in a long time, because he made the guy that we've cheered and booed finally give up. And this will mark the change from sports and entertainment to pro wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the era of pro wrestling. All right, guys, that does it for the video. If you guys are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. I will catch you guys in the next video around. I will see you guys later. Signing out, your host, Saheem the Dream. Peace.